Hey everybody, it's your boy Jay Rich. You know me, Spider-Man, all day, every day. I'm here with
CinemaBlend's Mike Reyes.
and we're gonna talk about Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer.
Oh, we're talking about Oppenheimer.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Truman needs to know what's next.
2,
What's next?
1.
Oh, we've been talking about Oppenheimer. We will continue to talk about Oppenheimer. The
Yeah.
conversations will continue until ticket sales improve.
Listen,
Or whatever.
we know because we just got out of the screening for it, and we didn't just get out because like all of us, critics and all that stuff. We were sitting around just like we were
There was
decompressing
three
from
or four distinct waves of conversation because the moment the movie ends, the moment the title comes up, you and I start talking. Then we stand up during the credits, and then we see some of our other friends, and then we start talking. We go out in front of house, and then the refs are there, and we start talking to them, and then we're out here for about a good couple minutes shooting the breeze about other things, but then
right back into it. We went right back into it.
And I mean, I guess that's just a really good roundabout way of saying this lived up to the hype, and I would say it even exceeded the hype.
Yeah, because I honestly, this is like one of the few times where I'm like completely excited and hyped to see this because I saw like there was like featurettes where they were talking about how he shot this, and like the I guess the creation of the 70mm like.
Well, yeah, this movie actually had to have a 70 or 65 or 70 millimeter black and white stock created for IMAX because Christopher Nolan shot the film with IMAX cameras, which is another huge difference for this movie because it's not like other movies where if you notice on the poster it says things like experience it in IMAX, shot for IMAX, or no, filmed for IMAX. This was shot on IMAX.
Yeah.
It takes full advantage of it. And keep in mind, this was supposed to be a 70mm screening, but it ended up being digital because of some unforeseeable hiccups. Okay.
That happens.
The movie is still captivating as anything. I am ready to go see this again and buy my 6-7. If they told me that the 70mm was going to be up and running after this, I would heavily debate like
staying and then just saying staying and watching it again.
Yeah, that is really that's going to be part of the experience, and that's what people are going to be looking for with this. Again, Christopher Nolan movies aren't just movies. He really does put experience.
I hate using those, like coin terms, but it really is that. Like it felt like an experience because he used everything. Like the sound design was like, oh man, like because I'm stunned.
Goranson's most traditional score, and I am used to this man from Black Panther, the two Black Panther movies, where it is a wonderful blend of cultural instruments, but also a full orchestra, but also he works so well with electronic sounds. And then you go to Tenet, where that was his first one with Nolan, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a fantastic score too. But then he goes
this is different, man. This is
Zimmer.
Different.
This is Zimmer level. This is Zimmer style because it's very
different.
Traditional, and just it reminded me of the Interstellar score, where it's just there's these moments of scientific awe that Cillian Murphy is having as Robert Oppenheimer.
But it was traditional, but it had unique, creative. I mean, we've seen these things in like cinema before, where they use sound design with the music to create like the swells and all that stuff. But there were things like little things like we were talking earlier about the ticking in the background, the sound of stomping, but
train noises.
But the thing that's crazy about that is, as you watch the movie, they kind of explain what those sounds are and what they mean in the film.
Well, yeah, again, this is a movie that isn't sugarcoating anything, isn't soft-handing anything. This movie for 3 hours doesn't feel like 3 hours. 3 hours and 9 seconds, to be specific. Everybody that walked out of there said that it did not feel like 3 hours, and I agree. This is a movie that zooms. I literally wrote in my notebook, it's like this thing started with a zoom. but like, is it going to keep that? It maintains energy from start to finish, and it never feels like it's rushing or cramming anything in.
But that's what I was going to
It
say
covers
is
a
that
lot of ground in a very economic pace.
now this is a historic, like, history based
Well, yeah, it's a
film,
historical biopic.
but it wasn't boring. Like, even though there wasn't like actual action and stuff like that, with the combination of the sound design and the score, and even how it was shot,
Well,
even
yeah.
the pacing on the conversations back and
yeah.
forth, everybody had we were talking about that, how everybody had a moment to shine with either a monologue or just a back and forth sequence of dialogue with another character that furthered the story, but also added like a thrilling edge to it that had a level of like espionage, or like not even espionage, like it was just
conspiracy.
Like conspiracy, yeah. Like,
and again, for 3 hours, this thing it has no fat on it. It is a very lean.
Yeah, it's 3 hours, but it's 3 hours, but it's actually 3 hours of all important scenes. And I was wondering, like, because one of the things I was looking at once I realized the movie was 3 hours. Is there a point where you could find time to go to the bathroom and not really miss out on something? No, like there's
little.
Yeah, there wasn't like it wasn't like a downtime in the film.
It doesn't telegraph things. It doesn't telegraph things either, because it's honestly,
it had great examples of foreshadowing.
Oh yes, and in the hands of a lesser film, the dropping of the atomic bomb is the end of your movie. That is, and you would just leave the rest of what this film does exploring what happened to Robert Oppenheimer after all this. It would leave that,
or it would be like a weird like after credit, like a post credit that would just give you like,
you'd have a card. You'd have like a title card that describes things. You would have some sort of ominous
with like
ending,
a picture, with like a still image,
like,
and it'd be like this happened,
and footage
and
from like the actual Robert Oppenheimer.
Right.
You would have like an ambiguous ending that's sort of like mournful, and this is still a mournful ending, but you see why.
And
you understand why.
And it was talking about the creation of like the atomic bomb and the nuclear war, or what would become the future.
And
of,
what that future. We know what
it is because we live in it now.
We know what that future is. We know what happened because of it. But this is still captivating to the point where you feel the pre and post bomb halves of this story, because they keep intercutting, and that's the difference between the color. One of the differences between the color and the black and white.
Yeah, I one of the things though that it does explain and show everything that you do, like what led to what is now, like with like the with war, but you never really understood like what Oppenheimer was going through. And because we just knew the historical facts and all that kind of stuff, but like there was all this just,
and it doesn't
like
try to
deep level to it, and like it made
it was character work for an actual historical person, and most movies skip that because
it's so textbook. Most movies that do historical films or historical biopics, they're very just textbook. Unless they have to do with something with the arts.
Trying to be complicated.
Right. Unless it's something to do with the arts, then they give you some of that emotion and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, because artistic types.
Right. But this, like, I was invested in everyone. And then they gave you, like, not in spoiling anything, but they give you a whole switcheroo on a couple things, and you're just like, what? And it's callbacks to the, like, stuff in like the first like 20 minutes of the film, but it made
certain sequences in black and white, and then they're repeated in color.
Okay, so black and white, the black and white was like,
that was kind of Louis Strauss's story, played by Robert Downey Jr. And then the color is more Oppenheimer's point of view, played by Cillian Murphy.
And what was crazy, because what I thought was just so just like mind blowing, it was that I'm still blown away how interesting this movie is. And like, it was like actually like you would watch it and you're like, yeah.
And Nolan repeated a trick of his from Dunkirk, because in Dunkirk he plays with 3 different time periods, but he marked each one of them with like a different title card. He showed them all in the beginning.
This was done when
they did the same thing with this.
They did.
He marked the black and white and the color, as color was fission and black and white was fusion, I think, or it
Yeah,
might have been the other way around. I wrote it
yeah. It
down.
was
But the
fission
point
and there
is,
was fusion.
he did the same thing where he is showing it to the audience. He's not trying to confuse anyone. He is showing you what he is going to do with this story, and then confidently dives into it and uses it, and you're either with him or not. And even,
but it wasn't overly complicated
well,
either.
no, and
Like,
they even
because you
show
know how some
certain
people,
characters again.
right?
They show certain characters again when they're mentioned by name, just to make sure that people understand. Oh, that person. Oh,
Right.
this person.
But here's the thing: a lot of people, like when like Tenet came out, they were like, it's too much all over the place and too confusing.
Tenet's more experimental. I can see people's.
This had a fine like direction. This had
mind-windy movie.
right, and this had like direction. Like everything, like we were talking about, everything was like done on purpose
Yeah.
for a reason to tell said story, to move things along, and I'm just
Well, that might be just a testament to Nolan as a historical filmmaker versus Nolan as a fictional filmmaker, because he is still good with his own material, but it seems to be that his own material is where people are more confused, maybe, versus historical, where it's very much delineated, or even with the Batman movies where it's
Right.
just a straightforward narrative.
So overall, though, this is a real, true version of what a cinematic masterpiece is.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's just
This is something that will go on. Like
this
in
is something that
colleges,
should be.
like,
This is something that should be shown to
this.
high school children
They'll be teaching this,
or older high school kids, because obviously it's an R-rated film. There's some full frontal nudity, but that's when permission slips that come in, because I know they've done that with like Schindler's List in the past.
right? But
I think the historical
I'm just
content
saying,
of this
like,
film
this
outweighs
is
a
for
couple
film
of moments
students.
of nudity.
This is a thing that's for film students. That's gonna put them.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna inspire other filmmakers to get into the industry, to want to take that big leap, to be experiment. Like,
it inspires in so many ways, because
it was so good. It was really, really good.
You could say that it'll inspire future scientists. You could say that it'll inspire future historians.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Nuclear
like there's so many
majors. Like there's so many
gonna
just
be-
angles to this.
I'm blown away. This is actually worth seeing. Yeah, I want to see it again.
It's amazing. I'm already going to buy my ticket for 70mm, and that's full well knowing I am probably going to see this again this weekend with my wife, because we're going to do the Barbenheimer double feature.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, and I would still probably recommend go see Oppenheimer first, then Barbie right after, but see them both because there's room for both.
Yeah. There's room and there's time and everything.
I still haven't yet seen Barbie.
I haven't seen Barbie, but I'm excited
confident.
for it. I'm
confident.
excited
It looks
for it.
fun.
After this, I need something. Okay, one thing straight up. I'm gonna end this on this. This is a film that shows the evils of both sides. There was no heroes, there was no protagonists, there was no real antagonist. Everyone had a dark side.
It's a very morally. It's not morally ambiguous, but it's morally ambivalent, maybe, because it wants to show people as they were. It's morally ambivalent to a certain degree. With politics, it's definitely morally ambivalent, but when it comes to the actual policy of the bomb, and the actual ethics of the bomb, it is not ambiguous at all.
Yeah.
This is pro Oppenheimer in that case, but at the same time, it showed who Oppenheimer was. It showed who he was in his life and how imperfect he was, but what his relationships in life were.
Yeah. So, all right. When you get to go see it, come back, comment, let me know what you thought about it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that crap. You know what I'm saying. Help a brother out. All right.
Help
me.
Please
Help me.
Help Oppenheimer.